Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to another Ask Wrestle Juice. You guys left a bunch of great questions on the community tab every single week, usually on Wednesday or maybe Thursday. I post a community tab Q&A thread, and we got a bunch of your questions right here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click the notify bell, because then you'll be notified when I do one of these community threads, and you can ask your question at Wrestle Juice and maybe I'll answer it. While you're at it, give this video a thumbs up. Let's dive into it. Tristan A says, has Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti soured on you like it has for me and others? He says, I know we've really taken a disliking to Sammy and Ty. I personally thought the bit from this week's Dynamite about them getting freaky with the belt kind of felt childish and a bit disrespectful. All right, so this is kind of an interesting one. I've talked before, either here or going in Raw, about how certain tropes in pro wrestling are very unique to pro wrestling. For example, in pro wrestling, if somebody is in the middle of a storyline and they get released by the company, generally speaking, it's not brought up. Like, that storyline is just dropped. There's no closure to it. This happens all the time in WWE, especially when they do big releases. Aleister Black shows up and he gives a spinning heel kick to Big E on SmackDown, and then he's just gone. And if you only watch WWE, you don't pay attention to Aleister Black's YouTube channel, you don't know that he's going to have a new name and he's going to appear somewhere else. It's sort of a convention of pro wrestling that's, I think, taken for granted by some promoters. I think maybe Tony Khan feels that the hardcore base of AEW, and I think he rightfully so feels this way, pays attention to all that other stuff. Okay, and I'm getting to my point here, just bear with me. But I feel like there's a large portion of the audience that really you shouldn't take that for granted for. And given that Sammy Guevara was like the one person in AEW who literally proposed to his girlfriend and then fiance in the middle of the ring, and then all of a sudden he's in this relationship with Ty Conti, and there was never any on-screen explanation for it, is just one of those weird pro wrestling tropes. And so I'm like, wait a second. If I'm just an AEW viewer and I'm just watching that show and not paying attention, because I don't watch Sammy's vlog, I've heard that it's good things about it, but every time I've seen little clips, I'm like, to put this diplomatically, it's kind of not for me. Every time Sammy opens his mouth, I'm like, I just don't know if I'm not really into this guy. He's a phenomenal wrestler. And I know plenty of people out there like his shtick, right? They're like, oh, this guy's cool. And that's fine. That's great. I'm not casting judgment on anybody. It's just, to me, I'm like, this guy's not, I wouldn't want to hang out with this guy. So I've seen little samples of his vlog, and I'm just not into it. So why would I watch the entire thing? And so it's just weird to me on AEW that they're just like, oh yeah, this guy is the only person who was actually literally proposed to a woman in the middle of the ring. And then she's gone all of a sudden, and Ty Conti's there. And it's like, there was never really any explanation for that on camera. I mean, I think maybe Excalibur's probably mentioned it in a, offhanded way when they show up on screen together. Maybe they did that when Ty came to Sammy's aid there. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really into Sammy as a character. Has never done anything for me. Ty as a character has never done anything to me. I can admit that she has improved greatly in the ring since she's moved over from to AEW from NXT. But as a character, they've never really been able to make me give a shit about her. Sammy has never really given me much reason to care about him either. As a character. Now, I might be in the minority, and I'm totally fine with that. To each their own. If you guys love Sammy, that's awesome. Whenever he's got a match, I'm like, cool. I get to see a Sammy Guevara match. That's kind of what matters to me. His wrestling is phenomenal. As a character, I don't really care for it. And so when they did that the other night, it's like you got Dan Lambert, who's, a scumbag in character. And honestly, a guy I don't really care to see on my TV the way they present him. And then you got Sammy Guevara, and him and Ty Conti are talking about, we did stuff on the title, and now you just kissed it. I don't know, man. Like, look, I think sex jokes are funny. I think they can be. And I think that gags like that, they got one up on Dan Lambert. So like, I'm not all, twisted about it. Because I don't care for Sammy, I was like, I know he thinks that's cool. And like, it's so edgy and stuff. But to me, it's just sort of like, it's a bit eye rolling. But again, that's just me. If you guys like it, that's cool. I know they're fairly divisive. I understand that, Sammy and Ty. And here's another thing. When you make your personal life, like you can complain about people trying to dig in your personal life. And I don't advocate for online bullying at all. At all. People should understand their characters. But when you bring your personal life to the public eye, when you bring it to people, it'd be one thing if they were private people, but they're not. And so the criticism that comes with how you're presenting yourself on screen as characters, when you're mixing the personal and public life, that can get messy. And I'm not saying that, people are justified for criticizing Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara for the nature of their relationship, how all that started, but they put it out there in the public and they comment on it seemingly incessantly. And so I feel like the backlash is going to happen whether you like it or not. People are going to be crapping on you whether you like it or not. And they've chosen to run with it by being an on-screen couple who talk openly about their love lives and how it involves the TNT title or involve the TNT title. And Ty Conti posted up a picture. So they've just decided to run with it, which I guess is a way to go. So yeah, we're stuck with it now. And if you like them, great. If you don't, then that's just, they're going to be on your TV presented as good guys. Let's move on here. Aster Ash brings up the shirt that I posted in the community thread. There's this terrible shirt. If I remember, I'll put it right here. Of Charlotte and Ronda Rousey Mania is the official WWE shop shirt. Look at this piece of shit. This is horrible. This is ugly. And Aster Ash asked, what is the ugliest piece of wrestling merch you've seen? This is easy. It's not even close. It's a AJ Styles cum shirt. This is from TNA. It's his name in letters that it just looks like somebody splooged all over his shirt with like a massive load. It's disgusting. It's that one. And it's not even close. Let's see here. Aussie Dragoon says, could you see any released WWE wrestlers returning post WrestleMania? If so, who do you think is most likely? I would have said ages ago, I would have said Nia Jax, but I don't think that's going to happen now. I think she's probably brought a bit too much heat on her for her comments. As far as other released WWE wrestlers, I don't know. Most of them seem to have found a home, with the exception of a few women's wrestlers. And I hope AEW picks some, Athena, Mia Yim, Toni Storm, but she asked for her release. She ain't going back. And then Nixon Newell. So yeah, I don't know. I think probably not, because I think it's more likely we'll see people from NXT showing up after Mania. I think Ciampa might finally show up at after WrestleMania and actually establish himself on Raw. I think that's a possibility. Braun Breaker too, maybe. So I think they have plenty of talent that for them would be ready to go on main roster programming. Plus you got like Gable Steveson coming in probably. Let's see here. Masked Man asks, how important is commentary when it comes to wrestling, and does it matter? Does it all matter to telling a story? Yes, commentary is very important. It can make or break certain things. I'm not a fan of wrestling without commentary, unless you're sitting there live. Then I don't like commentary. If you're actually in the venue, yeah, commentary is kind of everything. I feel like if they had, that was sort of the thing that got me into when New Japan was a thing. New Japan's still a thing. When 2017, when New Japan really blew up here in the States, that Wrestle Kingdom, because of Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino, I really got into that card. If it was just the Japanese commentary, maybe I would have stuck around for it, but I wouldn't have had those voices guiding the way. And I think it's not really that much different if it's, still just stateside wrestling or whatever. I think that good commentary really does help a match, yeah. Let's see here. Stephen Dunnigan says, I love the new Ring of Honor roster video. How do you foresee a Ring of Honor roster video? How do you foresee a Ring of Honor versus AEW pay-per-view potential? He says, well, here's the thing. At this point, Ring of Honor is just going to be AEW light. It's going to be like AEW's NXT. I've said this before. Once the brand has been established, then yes, I could totally see that. But like the bigger names that are associated with Ring of Honor right now, they're in AEW. Obviously Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, a couple others. They're AEW. And before that, they were best known for WWE. I mean, that's, So like at this point, they're AEW. So like to claim that they're Ring of Honor would be silly. What you'd want to do is, once you've established Ring of Honor, it's its own brand. You build that brand up with its own stars over the course of like 2 years. And when it's red hot, assuming that you're able to get to that point, Then you do like an invasion thing. Then you do an AEW versus Ring of Honor thing. It's like a Survivor Series brand versus brand thing. Ring of Honor would essentially function as AEW's second brand. Let's see here. Brandon Lee says, as a Ring of Honor fan since day one, I'm glad Tony got it over Vince. Supercard looks great. Is Tony going to switch Rampage to Ring of Honor? No, that'd be a terrible idea because AEW is still a larger brand name to the mainstream audience. You don't want to, and they need Rampage to fill out their storylines and to get more room for their roster. So I think that's a no-go. I don't think that TBS or TNT or Warner or whatever, I don't think they'd be cool with that. I don't think they'd accept that. So no. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say Ring of Honor is going to land on YouTube. I think there's a possibility that if they do end up with some sort of streaming deal, like with HBO Max, it'll end up there. I think that's a possibility. There hasn't really been much word on that front, so who knows? But maybe that'll all be sorted out soon enough. But I get the feeling it would not shock me at all if it ended up on YouTube. It's just that's where you can put stuff. But they're probably going to want to get some money for it, so maybe not. Andrew Osborne says, do you think WWE needs mid-card titles for the women's division? Feels 75% of the division have nothing to do most of the time. Yes, they do. The tag titles are stupid. They just throw together wrestlers who really should be singles wrestlers into tag teams, and they use that as their mid-card thing, and it just doesn't make any sense. They need mid-card titles for the women for both shows. RDF 1987. If Tony was to completely reboot Ring of Honor and use it as AEW developmental with all new champions, who would you want to see as the first set of champions? So let's say Jonathan Gresham comes in and he is their first champion, but who would be the first new champion? My vote would go to probably go to Lee Moriarty. I think you make that's a great first big deal step for him. He's wrestled some amazing names already in AEW. But I think he'd be a great first Ring of Honor champion. You got other names I mentioned in the roster video. As far as the first Ring of Honor, like women's champion, I don't know. I don't know if they want to put Ruby Soho in Ring of Honor. She feels more like a main roster type person. So I don't know. Maybe like Nixon Newell. That'd be cool for like a Ring of Honor first champion. I'm trying to think of like other people. Oh, no, you know who'd be a great first Ring of Honor champion? Would be Layla Hirsch. That's it. Layla Hirsch. First tag team champions. I mean, you got to put it on. I'd put it on Top Flight like immediately. Absolutely. Let's see here. Deep Voice Dude has an interesting question. It says, has HD TV been bad for pro wrestling? He says, I've heard this as the reason the industry is declining in popularity. Before HD TV, you couldn't see how fake the fighting was. Wrestling has been declining in popularity since its height of the Attitude Era. And I mean, the HD flip over was 2010 or something like that. I don't really see that as being the case. I think that can you see that the punches are a bit more worked? I mean, good worked punches look real. Good wrestling looks real. You watch any good New Japan match, it looks real. Like those punches are really close or hit in the face. So no, I wouldn't buy into that theory. I'd never heard that theory. I believe you that you've heard this before. I don't really buy into that though. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't really buy into it. Let's see here. Anuradha Tiwari says, who do you think has a bigger legacy, Austin, Hogan, or Cena? Probably Hogan. Even throughout all the controversies, I'll say that nicely, all the controversies of Hulk Hogan after the fact, you can't escape the fact that it was basically, he brought wrestling to mainstream popularity. It was his face, his name everywhere. He's still the most, in my opinion, he's probably still the most well-known name in pro wrestling history is probably Hulk Hogan. After that's probably John Cena, then Steve Austin. I mean, because when I think of legacy, I mean like mainstream, like who knows these people. Let's see here. White Brownie says, with WWE pretty much saying Mania will be 2 nights going forward, could you see this becoming a problem sooner rather than later? No, it's not going to be a problem sooner. It's not going to be a problem later. I am all in favor of a 2-night Mania. I think it's an awesome idea. I think they should start playing around with the idea of doing stories from night 1 to night 2. Like a fight in matches for night 1 and you go into night 2, the way Wrestle Kingdom did it. I think that'd be a great idea, to be honest with you. So no, I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. Charlie Black asks, now that Thunder Rosa has won the championship after feuding with Britt. Who do you think she's gonna be her next big rival? Well, clearly right now it's gonna be Nyla Rose. That's probably gonna wrap up by the time Double or Nothing comes around. Sorry. At Double or Nothing, shit, I don't know. I hope it's boy, I don't know. I was gonna say a Double or Nothing would be cool if they did Jade Cargill and Thunder Rosa champion for champion. That's a little too soon though, isn't it? I don't know. She needs somebody bad. They'll probably do like Ty Conti. They'll turn her heel. She just fights everybody for the titles and then cycles back out. Let's see here. A couple more. Sean Lathrop, Power Rank, who should open a new company in North America? Triple H, Jeff Jarrett, Freddie Prinze Jr., Matt Cardona, and Gabe Sapolsky. It is that order. It is Triple H 1, Jeff Jarrett 2, Freddie Prinze Jr. 3, Matt Cardona 4. That'd be a wild promotion. And then Gabe Sapolsky 5. Let's see here. We'll end on this one. Josh Perez says, do you think Tony Khan should consider bringing in somebody that has a good record in booking women's wrestling? He says, booking wise, I feel it could be much better. Yeah, probably. I don't disagree with that. Honestly, I don't feel like it's the stories that are the problem. It's the amount of time dedicated that's the problem. There's always the obligatory one match on Dynamite and one match on Rampage. Otherwise, I think like the video packages and the actual motivations for the stories, I don't think they're terrible. They're simple like everybody else's is simple. AEW keeps things pretty simple. There's not a lot of twists and turns in their stuff. It's just like, hey, I'm wrestler, you're a wrestler. I'm good guy, you're bad guy. What do you want? Then we fight about it. And he keeps it pretty simple with the women. I don't think it's the booking. I think it's the amount of time dedicated. I don't think that a Serena Deeb Rookie Challenge match counts as a match. So if you're going to do that, you still need to have at least one women's match on like a Rampage or whatever. And on Dynamite, I don't know, just show that you care a little bit more. I do think that he's getting better with it. I have not seen any time breakdowns, but just sort of, going off my own terrible memory, I feel like he's getting better with it, but I feel like it could use more. I think there's still segments like, I don't know, whenever Dan Lambert talks, you can get rid of that and add a women's match to it. All right, that's going to do it for us. On Monday, I'm going to be talking about Triple H retiring from in-ring wrestling. Tomorrow, I'm going to have some more Steve Thunder WWE 2K22. The Rob Zerver edited it. He's great. Check it out. In the meantime, I will see you on these other videos over here. I put together my Ring of Honor roster right here, and you can catch up with Steve Thunder over at My Rise Episode 2. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you over there.